I'd like to hear from Warren yourself. Another one of your stories, please.
Matt, last year we bought a ferry terminal up at Airlie Beach. Now the tourism industry has been having
just to put that, that's where the Great Barrier Reef is, just for those that don't know.
The Whitsunday Island, so it's a very good quality tourism area.
Yeah.
But it got hit very hard during the GFC. So the institutions always take a long time to go back into something, because a sector may have a good year, but they'll say they want to do 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years before they get back into the sector, where we're looking to get in there early. So it was a ferry terminal, was put out to a small group, 8 or 10 investors. We're in the final 3, and we were the lowest price. So they went with the other 2 first, and after a few months ended up coming back to us, because we stuck to our guns. We'll have a price and that's all we'll pay. So when you get up to Airlie Beach and you see this facility, it's irreplaceable. People just think it's a ferry terminal. What's so exciting? Well, it's got a 94,000 litre diesel tank on the Great Barrier Reef, 12,000 litre unleaded fuel there. Now what you want wherever possible is no competition.
Yeah.
Now it's very difficult getting approvals to put fuel. Now the only other way you could get approval is to show there's a need. Now these people have been smart enough that it's open to the public. So you can pull up there in your yacht, swipe your credit card, 300 litres a minute into the yacht, and off you go. So you would never get another approval to do fuel facilities there on the Great Barrier Reef. So it's got a new 20-year lease. It is irreplaceable infrastructure. It takes the staff out and back to the islands, to Hayman Island, to Hamilton Island. It takes 500 tourists a day out to Whitehaven Beach. Now, the big boys aren't getting in there. We saw it as a great opportunity,
yeah.
And you ask them, what are their good months, what are their bad months, where's the growth coming from? And up until a few years ago, February used to be the worst month in that area, because Australian tourists don't go there that time of year because of cyclones. But now, with the influx of Chinese tourists, and while they're travelling everywhere in the world, we're only a couple of hours time difference, so it's quite easy for them to come straight down, 6 hours, and they can get straight into doing it. So that's a Chinese New Year. Now that's not going to change. So that February has gone from the worst month for the ferry terminal operators to the best month.
It sounds like South Africans can take a lot of advice from what you're saying there, because I mean that's an extremely good example of no one's looking at those kind of niche property markets. And Scott,
well, he's doing the same up north with Darwin.
Yeah.
And exactly the same thing, where there's been mining, tragedies,
sure.
Commodity prices come off, everyone else pulls out, he goes in and buys good quality assets.
I mean, do you see something like this happening in South Africa? I mean, how can people emulate this kind of activity?
Well, there's 2 things I'd say here, Matt. The one is that, as South Africans, firstly, we tend to be very negative.
Yeah.
Okay, so I can virtually guarantee you that your listeners and readers out there are listening to this and going, "Oh, it sounds too good to be true. If it was so good, why would he be here anyway?"
Yeah.
Well, the point being is that he's raising all his capital out of Australians in Australia. Yeah. He's not here because he wants to be here. He's here because we persuaded him to come here and to meet with a couple of our high net worth guys.
And they paid for all my trip.
Rugby was a bit of a obviously a catch to come over. And I mean, what I love about the technology, it comes well. So the first thing is South Africans, it's not always too good to be true. Yeah. There actually are opportunities out there. And the second thing is that, again, whether it's Warren or Bill Rawson or Henny Besaidnout or Peter Venstra, what I've learned about people that make money is that they look for niches. They look for people that already know what they're doing from a track record perspective. But most importantly, they have the ability to make a decision. And most people don't have that ability. So they go with what everyone else is doing, and then they get what everyone else is getting. So, really, if you take what he's doing, he makes decisions, he's decisive, he goes into niche markets, and he looks for opportunities where he can create value. And, I think that's phenomenal. And whether it's Warren Buffett or Warren Ebbett, they've got the same strategy and they're getting the same results.